I'm Mrs. S with Owl Tree Montessori. Thank you for joining me today. I am going to introduce the Montessori Stamp Game. This is the perfect material for 1st through 3rd graders who are learning place value and all 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It is also really helpful for 4th through 6th graders who need support or remedial work with place value and operations. The Stamp Game is the 2nd base 10 math material in the Montessori Math sequence. Montessori Math materials progress from concrete to abstract. Concrete refers to hands-on physical objects that illustrate concepts. And abstract refers to symbols, equations, and general principles without any direct physical reference. There is one material that comes before this Stamp Game that is more concrete, and it's the golden beads. Each bead can be counted to represent the quantity. We have one bead. Here is a group of 10 beads, and we can physically count the 10. This is 10. And this is introducing the base 10 counting system. Here we have 100. We can physically count all 100 beads and see that there are 10 groups of 10 to make 100. This is 1,000 cube. We have 1,000 beads grouped together here. We can see that 10 groups of 100 combined together to make 1,000, and I can hold 1,000. This is a lot. I can compare 1,000 with 100. Very, very concrete. Children typically work with this material in kindergarten, preschool even, and they're introduced to the base 10 counting system using this. We also introduce the symbols to match the quantity, and children spend a lot of time building and reading numbers, and they also do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division using this material. They can put the cards together to make the standard number and read them. Lots of great practice. Then we introduce them to the Stamp Game, and it moves them a little closer toward abstraction, and you can see it as you're looking at the stamps. We no longer have individual beads that can be counted. We simply have the numeral that they've been introduced to here on these little, stamped on these little squares right here, and we'll build them to make numbers. So we can see how these two materials compare to each other and how we're moving on towards abstraction. Now let's take a look at what we have inside our Stamp Game box. We see our stamps with the numerals stamped on each square, and we see the colors being represented. Green will be units throughout the Montessori Math materials and curriculum. Blue will be the tens. Red will be the 100s, and that's our simple family. And then we're back to green for the units of thousands. This material stops at the units of thousands place. There is another material they will use to do the 10,000s and even into the millions. But this material is limited to the thousands place, the units of thousands place. So we would never want to give a child an equation that would cause them to exchange into the 10,000s place. That will be confusing for them. We also have these wooden pegs. They're called skittles, and they will represent the divisor in division equations. And I'll show you those in just a moment. We have these little discs, these little wooden discs, and they represent 0. They are placeholders to show the function of 0. And we will use those coming up here in a moment as well. To begin, we can teach basic numeracy, which is the ability to understand and work with numbers, and number sense concepts with the Stamp Game. We can build and read numbers. This material is very helpful in demonstrating odd and even numbers. We can see that 3 is an odd number because this one doesn't have a partner. We have odd number. Oh, this is an even number. There's a partner there, and 4 is also even. If you're working with odd and even with your student, your child, this is a great way to reinforce that concept as well. We can also practice that function of 0. So maybe in the tens place, I'll put this wooden disc there to show that this place value still exists. It's just an empty set. So when we read the number, we would read 4,203. And this place value is still there. There's just nothing in it. For addition with the stamp game, have your child build a number at the top and then build a second number beneath it. 1,322. At this stage, we also begin using math vocabulary. I would tell the child that this is the first addend and this is the second addend. And then we're teaching the concept. In addition, we combine. We push them together and combine. Starting in the units place, we combine and we get a total, a sum. This equation was very simple. There was no exchanging, no regrouping. We would call this a static equation in a Montessori classroom. But what if there was regrouping? What if there was an exchange? What if we had more than 10 or more in a place value? We would do an exchange and regroup into the next place value. So let's see what that would look like. Let's say that in the tens place, I had 11. Okay, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and 11. Okay, so we would know that we would need to exchange this group of 10. Okay, we can count by twos, which is reinforcing that counting by twos skill. We can also count by tens and verify that this is indeed the same as 100. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Wow, that's the same as 100. So we can exchange all of these loose tens for one group of 100 and regroup it here. And now this is our sum. That is how you would do an addition equation with a stamp game that is dynamic, we would call it, has an exchange. Subtraction with the stamp game begins with a minuend, a number at the top. It's called the minuend, and I'm going to put out this here. So we can do one without exchanges. We would take away from the top number to create that subtrahend. This would be the number at the underneath, the bottom number is what we're taking away. And what the answer would be is what's left. What is left over is what the difference will be, what the remaining amount is. And that's how we would do a subtraction. A little different from addition because you don't get out both numbers, you simply get out the amount you're starting with and then take away from it to create that subtrahend, that second bottom number. If we had to make an exchange, we would have to take away more than what we had here. So if my equation on my paper instructed me to take away 6, I don't have enough. I can't take away 6, but I do have something in the tens place. I can take this 10 and ungroup it and put those loose tens into the units place. So let's do that now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There we go. And that goes back in and my exchange is complete. And now I can take away the 6. 1, 4, and 6. So there's my subtrahend, and that's what I have left. And that's how you would do an exchange or regrouping with what we would call dynamic subtraction. Multiplication with the stamp game is taking a number multiple times. So I have the number here, 3,223, and we're gonna say times 3. So we would just get out this number 3 times. We have 3,223 times 3 times. Multiplication is very similar to addition in that we combine it. So we just push our numbers together and combine them to get our product. Now, if I had more than 10 in a place, 10 or more, we would do the exchange just like we would for the addition. Let's make a divisor of 3 for division. And let's share 633. We won't do any thousands this time. The difference between division and the other operations is that we start with the largest place value instead of the smallest place value. So we're going to start with the 100 place because it is our largest category and share among our 3 children. So we have a divisor of 3 and a dividend of 633. 633 divided by 3. So it has to be fair. It has to be equal. You get 1, you get 1, you get 1. Okay, it's fair. They each have 1 and I still have more to share. Let's share. Everybody gets an equal portion of 1 more, okay? We're moving on to our next largest place value, which is the tens. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you. It's equal, it's fair. And on to our units. And each child gets the same amount, okay? The quotient, which is the answer in a division equation, is the share of 1, what each child got. Each child got 211. That is our quotient, 211. Now for a dynamic, one with regrouping or exchanging, if I had, say, 700 to share, well, that wouldn't be fair because each child wouldn't get a third 100. So I'm going to ungroup this 100. I'll exchange it for 10 of these 10s. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I would continue sharing out the 10s evenly and exchanging if necessary. That would be how to do a dynamic division equation. Also, if I had, let's say, 4 units to share, so I have 1 left over, that would just be our remainder. And that's how you would do a remainder. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. It shows how the stamp game can be used to teach place value, number sense, and all 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. I hope that this was helpful for you. Please like and subscribe and come back and visit us for more Montessori lessons to use in your home and in your classroom. Thank you.